Okay, so we are actually moving on. This is still trig, but this is trig graphing. So instead of calling this trig, I don't remember what number we're on, 15 or 16, this is going to be called TG1, so trig graphing 1. Now, I'm going to try to go very slowly through this, okay? Graphing has always been a challenge for all of us. Maybe not all of us, but most of us, okay? So I'm going to go very slowly through this. So actually, this first section we're going to spend 3 days on. So this is TG1, TG2, and TG3 will all be from the same section in the book. So what I'm going to do today is just introduce the trig graphs, show you what they look like. I don't think you'll need a graphing calculator for this lesson, but make sure you're bringing them to class because we'll be using them in class. So the trig values, with sine and cosine in particular, are waves. Okay, they will actually go on forever, oscillating between -1 and 1. Okay, now you'll notice that there's certain places where they cross the axis. Now, you'll also notice that this is for t and y instead of x and y. There's a lot of reasons for those, and we'll do kind of an exploration in class when we do that. So when we do this graph, it's t and y. If you're graphing a graphing calculator, you'll have to graph x and y. Okay? So what I want to show you, though, is where the values fall. So I want you to see here that when we are at 0, it's 0, 0. When you go up to 1, when the y value is 1, okay, the x value or the t value is pi. Why can't I write? I should be able to write. Okay. It's pi over 2. Okay. It goes through 0 again at pi. All right. Then at -1, it's going to 3 pi over 2. It goes through 0 at 2 pi. Okay, this actually has to do with the unit circle. It's polar coordinates. All right, and it goes up to 1 at the next value, and so forth and so on. Okay, so you're going to have to make sure that you know this is 5 pi over 2, and so forth. All right, so make sure that you remember the unit circle. That will help when you're trying to do these. But this is just kind of what the graph looks like. You'll refer back to it quite a bit. So if you want to take a picture of this with your phone, they're also in your books. Or if you want to draw your own picture, so you have it, that would be fantastic. You're just going to need it to refer to. I mean, most of what our homework is tonight is looking at the picture and finding things. So, okay, this is the cosine function. There's the cosine function so we can see it. Now, the cosine function, you'll notice, is a little different. At 0, it's at 1. Okay? At pi over 2, it's at 0, it's at pi over 2, it hits the 0 mark. Okay, at pi, it hits the -1 mark. So you'll notice this wave is almost the opposite of the sine wave. Okay, it goes in, so it's still a wave, it's still oscillating, but it's the opposite of the sine wave. Okay. Now, going on to the tangent wave. Tangent is not a wave, and it looks very different. Okay, so tangent is not a wave. It looks like this. So it is a curve that goes on forever, and we're both up and down. Okay, it's not a wave, and it moves. It goes in groups from -pi over 2 to pi over 2, pi over 2 to 3 pi over 2, and so forth. Okay, you have to realize that it's going to keep going forever like this. Okay, so at the pi's are where it crosses the axis and it flips direction. Right? So that's just important to realize that that's what it's doing. So, all right. So we're going to graph each function on the given interval. So this is kind of fun. You will probably need some graph paper for this. This ended up being super big, so I'm going to shrink it up a little bit so that we can do this. Now, on my axes, I'm not actually going to label them as 1, 2, 3. I'm going to label them as, we're going to go every other one, so we'll do this as pi, 2 pi, okay, 3 pi, and so forth. All right, now, if you remember on the sine graph, sine function, okay, it's going to cross the 0 at every pi. Now, it wants me to graph it. Oh, I don't even need to go that way. It wants me to graph it from -5 pi to -3 pi. So if I'm doing every other line, so this is -pi. It's really hard to see on this, I'm sorry. -2 pi. Oh, I'm going to run out of room here. Maybe we ought to do every line. So I'll make it super small. Just so that I have this is not going to be the axis, again, because I put a bad picture on here. I'm going to make this the y-axis so we can go negative this way. So negative pi, negative 2 pi, negative 3 pi, this is going to be negative 4 pi, negative 5 pi, negative 6 pi. Okay, so I want to go from negative 5 pi to negative 3 pi. So we're going to start at negative 5 pi. Now, keep in mind that this is going to be going, and we're going to call this every other line 1 and negative 1. So from negative 5 pi, I'm going to cross it every pi. So I'm going to go up to 1. Okay. And I missed something when I was, I think I messed up when I was drawing these. These lines are too close together. You know what? Screw it, we'll make it bigger. Again, we're going to make this my axis. Okay. This is negative pi. We're going to go negatives. Negative 2 pi, negative 3 pi, negative 4 pi, and negative 5 pi. Okay. So I'm going to start at negative 5 pi. We're going to go up. We're going to hit 1 here. I'm going to come down to 4 pi. We're going to hit 0 there. Go up. Make sure that you're hitting in the right places. And that's my graph for the function f of t, okay, from negative 5 pi to negative, oh, I went too far, didn't I? I just needed to go here to there. All right, and that's all it wants. It needs to graph it in the right place. So, all right, let's see what the other one wants us to do. It would help if I'm moving instead of drawing. Okay, so this wants me to do tangent. Okay, tangent. Now I put this one on here as an example because you will have to do some tangent functions. From pi over 3 to 3 pi. This is a little more complex. So you'll have to be a little careful. As you're graphing. And I apologize, I've lost my notes. So with this, 5 pi over 3 is going to be in the middle. It's not going to fall on a nice line. So when you have these, and we're going to put some spaces in here because we need to have some room to play. So I'm going to make the axis over here this time. Not in the middle, over here. And we're going to go from 0 to 3 pi. Now keep in mind, I'm going to go every other one as pi over 2. So this is pi over 2, this is pi, and this is 3 pi over 2, this is 2 pi, and this is going to be 5 pi over 2, and 3 pi. Alright, now there were asymptotes at every pi over 2, so we need to make sure we draw those in here. Okay. Those are the lines that we don't cross. Okay. And we want to go from 5 pi over 3 to 3 pi. So 5 pi over 3 is actually a very small space. Okay, let's think about that in terms of decimals. 5 pi over 3 is 1.6 repeating. Okay, so it's bigger than 1.5, okay, which is, this is 3 pi over 2, but less than 2 pi. So it's going to start somewhere in the middle here. Now we always cross at 2 pi, so we're going to kind of come up like here. We're not going to go all the way over here because that would be, so we're going to kind of come up here, cross there, all right, and then we also need to make sure that we have the next. Now remember, we always cross through, so we're going to be coming down here and crossing there and stop. So it's a bizarre graph. Okay, But make sure that you kind of have to know your fractions and play with it a little bit. You notice this is approximate. It's not going to be exact because I don't know exactly where 5 pi over 3 lies on the graph. So you'll have to do some graphing. By hand, I would really prefer that you not use your graphing calculators. Okay, graphing calculators are going to put some bizarre graphs on there. I will show you how to do those later. But I want you to do it by hand. I want you to get a feel for how they work. So. All right. So now the next part, which this is the easy stuff, okay? It says for what values of interval negative 2 pi to 2 pi is cosine of t 0? Okay, so that means that the y value is 0, because cosine of t is the same thing as, put y equals the cosine of t. So where is it 0? Okay, it's 0 here. Okay, it's 0 here. It's 0 here. Okay, everywhere that it crosses the axis. Yes? So this is negative 3 pi over 2. This is negative pi over 2. This is pi over 2. Okay. This is 3 pi over 2. And that's as far as we go. From negative 2 pi to 2 pi, how many places does it hit the 0 line? 4 places. Alright. Then it asks, what is the y-intercept of the graph f of t equals sine of t? Okay. So, where does the sine graph cross the y-axis? Okay, that should be fairly easy. It's right there. It's 0. Okay, you're going to have a lot of questions that ask stuff like this. Okay, so you have to be able to look at the graphs and find the answers. So, and that's it. Okay, homework will be posted on Edmodo.